Save a tree, pee in a bush. This is the focus group.
They're all business, except when they're not. It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Focus Group. Tim Bennett here with John T. Nash. We are the Focus Group here every Wednesday. We're all good. All good media is found anywhere you want to look. Free. Isn't that what they say, John?
Free.
iHeartRadio, tune in. We never go through the whole list, but it's quite a list. I think you can even ask Alexa to find us, and she'll find us. And you can ask Xfinity Comcast with a remote mic. Will find us as well. So there's no excuse not to watch. So you can find us anywhere. All good media is found, and learn more about us at focusgroupradio.com. You'll also see our sponsors over there. Deep discounts. One of them, you should click on them and shop away and start buying some goods. There you have it.
And I'd like to alert the world to the fact that while we're doing our video, which drops on Wednesdays on Facebook Live and on YouTube, most people listen to the show as audio. From back in the day, we used to be a Saturday live broadcast on Sirius. And Saturday is Mr. Bennett's birthday. Ding, 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 ding.
Yes.
So you need to be looking out for some things that are coming your way. They are recreating a tradition, but we're doing it from afar, A. And B, I looked up some tarot card things for you for your birthday.
No. You know what? You'd be a good tarot card reader. You know why?
Well,
Can you teach somebody to do that, I wonder?
Sure you can.
Can.
We could.
You'd be a good one.
You and I could learn tarot. We could do the tarot deck.
Something for us to do when we're not doing this, right?
We're not super busy, right? So there is this thing on Queerty called Taroscopes that slay or something. It's these two guys, the spiritual gays out in the West. I think they're near Palm Springs or maybe New Mexico. And once a month they do tarot card readings, and they tie it to the moon in Aries. So Tim is in Aries, and I pulled your reading for the month. So it's not just for the day. This is the whole month. And you got the card that came up was the Queen of Swords reversed, meaning it's upside down. But here's what the stars have for you. There's something you're trying to turn a blind eye to, a red flag you wish you didn't see. Well, too bad, babes, you saw it. The truth refuses to hide, and your job is to clock it. The Queen of Swords is when you stand in your ability to speak the truth with love. Now, maybe this isn't the moment for you to speak out, but just because you shouldn't say it doesn't mean you should forget it ever happened. The Queen of Swords earns her right to tell the truth on others because she's able to take responsibility for her own truth as well. Where are you being dishonest and deceptive with yourself? The more honesty you can bring to your own inner realm, the more power you'll feel to vanquish lies and illusions when they appear in front of you. So that's your happy birthday tarot reading. And so I have to agree with
that's almost like the train station in New York. See something, say something. The subway, right? That's my tarot
there is
card.
Some interesting truth to the fact that I think, and I'm pretty darn sure that when I say it, I'm 100% accurate, that if we polled 10 of your friends from over the years, they would all say the same. Everybody would land on one trait, and that is if you are having trouble, if something's wrong, you got to call Tim. Because you usually have a way of bringing people down off the ledge, sorting it out, and saying get on with it. I may be wrong.
I think you're right about that. I don't disagree with that. And I know over the years I used to joke with you about therapy, for instance, because I would say, people would call me, I should be a therapist. But I do think it's important to talk to somebody, and whether it's a trusted friend, a mentor, or somebody that's trained in that as a therapist, it's important to be able to get things out, because otherwise they just fester. And I think there's so much, particularly with the way technology is now, people miscommunicate so often because you read things the wrong way in writing than if somebody actually spoke to you.
Yeah, but you have a kind of a, I don't know, a Mayberry wisdom about things. Like, all right, let's dissect this. What's really going on here? I mean, I have called you on a number of times, on a number of occasions, and you're like, okay, let's just go through this. And then at the
Well,
end of the
you know,
call,
you
you're like,
you don't hide it well. I mean, you are the most transparent person in terms of when you're angry and you know it, or you can read you pretty quick. And so, like for instance, I know when I don't hear from you, something's up. No, like, okay, John's got something up. I'm not going to bother him. He's got something up. And then usually you'll call and be like, oh, you're not going to believe the day I had, or you're not going to believe, you know, I woke up and this happened, or all of a sudden this broke or something. And I just be that's what I figured. And by then you've calmed down. But yeah, no, it's that's why we work well together. It's yin and yang.
true. And this, it's the birthday weekend. If you're listening to this as audio, this is the day, and it's a Saturday. It's Tim's birthday.
Now, I think the last time we were in the studio and it was a Saturday, didn't you bring me in some, were they Korean donuts or something? They were really good. Cream puffs, maybe?
I know that Matt Bogart. I've done
Yeah.
lemon pie, lemon squares.
Those
Matt
macaron-
Bogart did the donut thing one time.
Yeah. And those macaron things.
Oh, the macarons. Yeah,
Yeah,
love the macarons.
those were good too. But we used to always celebrate. We always did a good job celebrating one another's birthdays with treats and champagne, and it's always important to celebrate. And so I appreciate you.
But
wishing
remember,
me a happy
Tim
birthday.
Tim's not a big chocolate hound.
No, I'm
and
not.
if you have cake and ice cream, you better not put them on the same plate.
Nope, go right in the garbage. I never liked when it touched. I don't want the ice cream touching the cake.
All right,
Makes
in
the cake
honor
too
of your
soggy.
birthday as well, I had a story that I found. It's not caught my eye yet, but this is a story that really reeks of you and me. We could have written this for the college paper. Corpse flies out of minivan onto New Jersey highway, causing 5 cars and a horse to crash.
Flies out of the car.
A horse and at least 3 other travelers were caught in a 5-car pileup Friday afternoon when a human corpse flew out of the back of a Honda Odyssey. According to Paramus, New Jersey
I don't
police
mean to
chief,
laugh, but
yeah, Kenneth Ehrenberg, the body was en route from a hospital to a funeral home and it bounced out of the back of the minivan and onto Route 17. The ejected corpse incited havoc on the highway, causing a pickup truck pulling a horse trailer to slam into the back of a Jeep. I was hit so hard, my rear glass ended up on the hood of the Jeep, the Jeep's driver, Brittany, told the Daily Voice. Though Brittany and 2 others were hospitalized with minor injuries, the horse was unscathed and allowed to graze by the highway until a new trailer could be fetched. The body, which was covered in a sheet, was also unharmed. But I would like to say probably still dead.
how does it bounce out of the car?
And it was specifically a Honda Odyssey.
Right.
Well,
And I
it
don't
wasn't
think the
just-
Odyssey. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't think the back door opens on that. I know it's a sliding door. I'm trying to think how the body would just pop out of the back.
Yeah, I just thought this is on the realm of headless body, topless bar.
Right.
One of our
Wasn't it?
favorites.
Was Ayatollah Khomeini? Was he the one that they got so excited in Iran they knocked him out of the box onto the ground during the funeral? I laughed.
I think
they
you
were
might
all
be right. Yes.
Bouncing around the streets, screaming, yelling, all happy. You know, praise Allah. Next thing you know, he's on the ground.
Yeah.
There's one of those guys, the Jackass guys. They did a bit, might have been on VH1 or where they actually had a hearse and they would I think they were in San Francisco and they, you know, how steep the hills are there. Mm-hmm. So there would be a cafe or something and they would stop and then they had this release and the back door of the hearse and the casket would fall out. People at the diner would scream and they'd jump out and try to pick it up and the body would fall out. But everybody thought it was actually a hearse that lost the coffin in the back.
I like that. I don't know why, but I like that. And that reminds me,
innocent.
someone told me, and I might have read it, and I also read it in 1 or 2 reviews, that the new Jackass movie that came out was actually like the antidote for our times and must
Really?
be seen. So I said to Bob, maybe one night, right?
Yeah, it's like Borat, right?
Yeah.
So what caught your eye this week, Mr. Nash?
What caught your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
Again, I go to the well, and I find things that intrigue me that I wish I had done. Like, find this. A filthy statue. Let me put on the picture here. You're going to love this. Okay, there we go.
Oh,
A filthy statue found in an English garden was a long-lost masterpiece worth up to $10.5 million. Here we go again, right? Okay. So the statue, which Christie's says depicts Mary Magdalene's in, quote, a state of ecstasy, was bought by its current owners for 7,500, roughly 5,200 pounds, at a garden statuary auction in Sussex, England, 20 years ago.
Wow.
The unnamed couple is believed to have used the statue to decorate their garden. I mean, they bought it at a garden, thing. Last year, it was identified as one of the lost marble sculptures completed by Italian sculptor Antonio Canova before his death in 1822, which had been commissioned by then British Prime Minister Lord Liverpool. I like that one. I wonder if it was Liverpool's named after him. But following the death of Lord Liverpool, the sculpture changed hands between several owners, and at some point, the attribution, the chain of ownership and who created it, to Canova was lost. It's a miracle that Antonio Canova's exceptional, long-lost masterpiece has been found 200 years after its completion. Scholars have searched for this work for decades, so the discovery is of fundamental importance for the history of collecting and the history of art. It will now be sold at Christie's auction house in London, as it's expected to sell between 6.5 to 10.5 million. Why wasn't it sitting in one of our gardens is what I want.
Well, when this probably bopped around from garden to garden in England. I'm surprised it's not all chipped and, full of moss. Now, what happens in this case? So was it, do they think it was stolen or so?
No.
In this case, it doesn't become property of the state or whatever?
No, because the chain of ownership goes back to the auction house and maybe one person before that.
Right.
But somewhere beyond that, and the time it was commissioned by Lord Liverpool, they lost the chain. So it's legit.
So these people could actually, will they keep the money?
Yeah. Well, Christie's would probably get, if you did the calculation, Christie's probably keeps about 35%. Bob's probably going to correct me on that, but I'm guessing it's 30 or 35%. So right off the bat, they're getting a nice little chunk of change.
Looks like something I have hanging, a lot of junk in my yard. Looks like something in my yard or at the house.
Hey, I just came across a picture you sent when you were getting ready to sell your house in Glenside, and it was the arrangement for the sale. And I was scanning everything, and I have to say, and I don't mean to pick a scab or anything, but I have to say you have a distinct style, and it was reflected in everything on the tables and stuff. I know you saved a lot, and a lot had to go, but I was like,
a lot went. More went that I would have liked to had gone, but there's no room here. So
there's no room. Yeah.
What was I going to do? I do feel, I think last time you were here, you took snuck a peek and saw that I got tubs in one of the bathrooms.
Not that much.
But I went last night to look for something, and I opened it up. I don't know what to do with the stuff because there's one box just has yearbooks in it. So it has our high school yearbook, it has my college yearbooks. I'm not going to throw them away, but
and those are the ones I saved too. But I also don't
have them out, but unless I get some sort of shelving or win the lottery and put another room in the house, maybe.
You know what I was trying to explain to Bob the other day that he kind of got. I've now started doing this thing where I choose one object to represent the memories for 10 things. I know this is going to sound stupid, but I had all these little Star Wars things. So I thought, well, this one here, that's going to mean all of them, and I got rid of them, and I've never missed them. So I don't know if that helps, but
no, but it'd be very similar if you guys had decided to downsize to one residence. You have to make sacrifices and give some things up. You've always been very good about it. I've never been good about it. I own it, but I was aggravated with myself when I moved about the number of things I threw away that I could have thrown away 5 years, 10 years, 15 years prior. And they just sat in a basement.
Maybe, but you also had a house.
Yeah, no, but it sits there, right? You collect junk or you collect stuff that eventually doesn't mean too much. But anyway. As a sidebar.
Total sidebar. All right. So what caught your eye?
So I had opened the tease with this about save a tree, pee in a bush. So Busch Lite, the beer company, is promoting their brand. They got a new campaign they just came out with, and they're saving the planet with what they're calling their pee in a bush kit. Now, John, I want to get you one. I don't know what color you want. I'm going to order them. They're limited. We get a choice of black or blue for the pee kit.
I go with black, although the blue's okay.
So I'll see what they have. So what they've decided, which I saw this, I thought it was an April Fool's joke because, and a lot of people did, but in fact, it's not. The concern is there's a lot more people outdoors now and exploring our outdoors, and for guys particularly, we're very convenient in that, or being a guy sometimes is very convenient in that you can go to the bathroom outside quite easily. And they're concerned that many people or many guys that do this, and this is what happened with San Francisco with the light poles. For some reason, guys want to pee on something. So they're going to pee on a tree or they're pee on a pole. In San Francisco, they were killing weren't the light poles falling down?
They were rusting the bases
yeah.
of the poles out, which is, yeah.
So Busch Lite has teamed up using the hashtag Earth Month to celebrate Earth Month. And they've got this program called Save a Tree, Pee in a Bush, and then remember to flush it when you go home. So they said it's a very serious message to the public about when people decide they're going to go to the bathroom outside, they increase the likelihood of disease, pest, and nutrient loss, and stunting the growth of a tree. So the idea here is to convince beer drinkers to pee in empty cans that can then be disposed of later rather than urinating on the trees. Now, really, do you think this is going to happen? So when campers pee on trees, they said that it has a negative impact. This kit is $20. You can order it and get the funnel kit, which could be helpful maybe when you're driving in a car. You put it in something else. And then money conducted, part of this partnership goes to One Tree Planted, where they're going to direct 100% of the proceeds to that organization to plant trees. They're going to give you a little cap as well to put over your beer can so you don't get confused and drink it. And they want you to take it home and flush it, and then, of course, recycle the can. A lot of work.
So if you're not watching on the video, Tim found two. You really might want to go check it out because he has two pictures demonstrating what he just walked through. So, Tim, the cap thing.
Right, that goes over the can.
They provide two of them, right? And it do you think it clicks over it? Does it make a seal?
Yeah, it clicks over it. It's like a rubber thing, click over the can, so that you don't get that confused with your beer. Now, if you're drinking a beer, maybe you only brought 2 beer. You don't want to drink and drive. Maybe if you're out camping and you got to go to the bathroom, usually though those things would leave no trace. You go in the water or you use one of the, take in, take out waste with porta potty. I guess this is another option for that. You can pee in this container and then carry it out and flush it at home. I don't know how many people can travel with urine. You going to jump on the plane?
Thank you for saying that last line because that's where I was going with the cap. I was going to then ask you, what do? You put this in the black bag they provide for you?
Well, they want no, the funnel goes in the black bag with the cups. Okay. No, you're going to take this. Yeah, you're exactly right. As you say, you're going to take this urine soaked funnel, put it in the bag, take your 2 cans of piss, cap them, either get on the plane home or at the airport, I guess, dump them out. And then, anyway, right, I have to explain it, if it's taken us 5 minutes to explain, it's quite a campaign. I don't know what Busch Lite, I guess. We'll see. We'll see if I can get a kit. I like the idea of the kit. And I thought for you when you're riding your bike, now this is too much gear for you to take. But if you had to tinkle when you're riding, do you pull over and go to the bathroom?
Yeah, and I usually there's a couple spots I know where I could just go to like a little clearing, for example.
So it's the woods, right? Or it's out in the woods, right?
Yeah, and some of the towns I ride through have little porta potties at the library or something, so it's kind of set up for that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think one of these would be interesting.
Let me ask you.
Listen, when you used to travel as a kid and your father didn't pull over, that would have been helpful.
Well, yeah, or because he told us to go in the pan in the back of the wagon.
Right.
Yeah, thanks, Dad. Devil's advocate, if you were the director of marketing for this particular project and one of your staff brought in the pee in a can to save a tree, right?
No, save a tree, pee in a bush.
Okay.
Oh, Busch beer.
What would you have? How would this have ever seen the light of day?
With alcohol companies, they do kind of crude things. Not that this is crude. I think it's...
Their guardrails are different.
Well, right. But while they want to do good and they want to promote the earth and not urinating outside or whatever, the realities are if you're drinking and you have to go to the bathroom, in order for you to pull out, we've all been there with people, right? You're going to have, let me get my funnel. Does anyone have an empty can? are you going to announce to the group you're at Bonnaroo Festival and all of a sudden you're going to pee in the Busch can? I think
So you've
the
answered my
concept,
question.
yeah.
You've answered my question because this is exactly what Tim used to do. If you were an agency presenting a concept to him, he would walk through how you would interact with that concept, whether it's event marketing, whether it was an ad. Let's do this. And then, of course, sometimes the absurdity of what you were suggesting would come loud and clear as you're explaining. Like you just said, hey, guys, I have to pee. I need to get the funnel and a can.
Right, somebody got to go. Anyone have an empty can? Where are your keys? Boop, 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 boop. Go look for your car. Get your funnel. I don't know. As a gimmick, I guess they've done their job because we're talking about it. But I just thought. But I will order the kit. I'm going to see if the kit's available. I'll get you one.
Thank you.
Bob would love it. It might be a Christmas gift some year. Somebody will get that.
This show is certainly going to be a best of Tim's birthday weekend. Missing a can, a corpse coming out of a car. Yeah, the tarot card reading. We got a lot going on. Folks, we're going to take a super quick break, and when we come back, we have business birthday and shop talk. And remember to visit Deep Discount by going to focusgroupradio.com and clicking on their logo so you can start your shopping today. So be right back.
You're listening to The Focus Group with Tim and John. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com. Now back to The Focus Group with Tim and John. Available pretty much everywhere.
Hello, everybody. My voice. Welcome back to the Focus Group. Thank you again, John, for my little birthday treat about the tarot cards. I'm going to look into those now and see what the deal is with these, because I've seen people I've been read a few times, but I'm also concerned a little bit. I looked at it. I'll read it again. It says, "I see something, and I see something, and I need to do something about it."
You're a truth speaker. Yeah, you see something going on. You need to say.
So is that
about
something? It sounded kind of nefarious or something bad, didn't it?
Or it could just be a little family thing, or it could be like, I want my office upstairs.
That'd be a major crisis. That'd be a major crisis. But I'm gonna have to pay attention. I don't know. When you read your horoscope, you and I used to read horoscopes sometimes. Did you ever read when we would read that woman? I don't know how much would come
Susan
true.
Miller, astrologyzone.com. Yeah.
Sometimes I would go back and say, well, okay, I could get that piece, but I kept waiting to. You're going to win the lottery, but you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, do you look at those and?
No, I stopped looking at her and these guys, the tarot guys on Queerty. Sometimes they'll do things like they'll say, read for your moon sign first, then your sun sign second. So you do have to know those pieces of data. And that would involve your birth time, your birth location, the date and stuff. And sometimes they're really kind of creepy accurate for for the mood I'm in and what I think is coming ahead. So they do this at the beginning of the month. So it would be better to do what you just suggested. Go back and read what they said for March, right?
And see if any of it. And I think a lot of times there's a skill to it, but I do really think there's something. I guess the tarot cards are luck of the draw, but I do think there's people that do have that intuition or that sense where they can read.
I told you I had a tarot reading once that Pat got me for my birthday years and years ago. Patty Canova. I don't know why I remember her name. And you got a cassette tape with it. And she said to me at one point during the read, she said, "You're never going to be rich, but money will find you." Okay.
That's interesting.
You're never going to be rich.
You're never going to be rich,
but money you'll be fine though. Money will find you.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Okay.
Did you like that or not?
Well, coming out of college where I was scraping together money for macaroni and cheese on a part-time job, money didn't really find me. I had to find it. So
yeah, you're right. So I guess we'll do our business birthday. Speaking of money.
Everyone does celebrity birthday greetings, but the Focus Group is the only show in the universe that celebrates business birthdays.
So happy birthday to John Higson Cover Jr., he goes by Jack as his nickname, born April 6, 1920. He died February 2009 at 88. Not a household name, but he was the inventor of the Taser Stun gun. So he was the inventor of the Taser. So, don't tase me, bro. He was born in New York City, grew up in Chicago, had worked in a number of areas around nuclear physics, had a doctorate in nuclear physics, and was an Army Air Force pilot. He worked at IBM, Hughes Aircraft, and on the Apollo program for NASA. And he came up with the idea for this non-lethal weapon for use for law enforcement in 1960s in a response to what he saw as emergencies in the news, including airplane hijackings. And so he had he had read an article in the newspaper about a man who had inadvertently walked into an electrified fence and survived, though he was temporarily immobilized. So he decided when he read that he knew then that the body, or he surmised the body, could take some sort of electric current without danger. And so he had come up with this invention. And the stun gun, or the Taser. And do you know how it got its name, Mr. Nash?
It's not. It can't even be related to laser. No, I guess not.
No. It says Mr. And his name looks like Cover, but it's Cover. Mr. Cover named his invention as a tribute to another inspiration of his, the Tom Swift science fiction novels he read as a child. One of which was Tom Swift and his electric rifle. So he created this acronym from Tom Swift Electric Rifle. But so the company was initially TSER, but he said he got tired of every time the phone would call or he'd have to do interviews of saying TSER. So he threw an A in it, and that's how the name Taser came about.
You know something? I like this guy. I like how he came up with the name.
Taser. That's how he came up with the Taser. So it was the Tom and then letter A, Swift Electric Rifle, from science fiction novels when he was a kid in probably the mid 1900s or early 1900s, I guess. So the Taser gun shoots electrified darts connected to the gun by an insulated wire, which then will flood the body with electricity. Have you ever seen, sometimes people say they want to try it out and get hit? I don't know if I'd want to do that. Would you want somebody to hit you with it?
Neither do I. No.
So, speaking of peeing, I guess it could be like if you peed on an electric fence. I wonder if you'd get shocked. Small amounts of current are not inherently dangerous, he said, but the safety threshold is not absolute, especially if you have some heart issues or maybe there's some drug use or overexertion or you're resisting arrest. They said law enforcement agencies generally support the Taser as a worthy tool to protect officers and violent offenders. However, they initially tried to sell it to consumers. And because it initially used some gunpowder, it was considered a firearm from 76 to 95 because the darts were propelled by gunpowder. So in 1993, they changed the weapon and modified it so that it would use nitrogen instead of gunpowder, and that way it could be freely sold to the public. More than 375,000 individual officers have them, and they said about 180,000 private citizens have Tasers right now. And upon his death, he died of pneumonia. He had Alzheimer's, died in 2009. His third wife had said he used to always say that he saved 100,000 lives with this invention.
It's probably not he's not boasting. I mean, using that instead of shooting somebody, right?
Right. I always wondered why they don't do that more. Why if you're near somebody, they don't tase them rather
Have you
than
watched
shooting them.
that process? Does the gun shoot out like a little thing with
dart.
a wire attached to
Yeah.
it? So I wonder how precise that is.
Well, I've seen them use it. Now, I've also seen them use it where it doesn't affect the person. The person's still just going crazy.
Charging along. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like what my little dog Ferris would do, get through the electric fence. And then I would go catch him and then bring him back and get shocked. But because he still had his collar on and be holding him. But it didn't. He knew that if he got through that, 10 feet, he was home free. Take off, and get through and take the shock and boom. So.
So he trained himself to
get through the fence. So they said, let's see, they said 334 people have died from being tased since 2001, which I thought that's a little bit high, I think.
For something that's supposed to save lives, I would expect that number should be like 2,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I guess this is where again they said, is he a big one? I don't know how much volts do I give him? But
How many volts do I get? Yeah.
yeah. So happy birthday to Jack Cover, inventor of the stun gun or the taser gun. It's
Good one. Good one. We've never had him before. You've never found him? So this is a
no,
good
and
one.
I poked around because I had trouble finding. There were a couple of other birthdays, but they were,
Yeah, this is a good one.
CEO of Morgan Stanley. Okay,
Yeah,
you get
it's
enough
fine. Just
recognition.
money bags. Yeah, we don't need that.
This would be a Jeopardy question. Who invented the stun gun? Or this product used by law enforcement was from Tom Swift's electric rifle science fighter. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
the
taser.
question. What
What is the taser, Alex?
There you go. There you go.
Alex
you
is
just reversed
dead,
it.
so I
That's
don't know.
perfect.
So so we have a shop talk today that
It's pretty straightforward.
yeah, really more just conversation for you and I. I wanted to get your impression, John, of which ones may have surprised you. So the gist of this short article here is, despite all the efforts made by particularly Western countries in terms of LGBTQ recognition, it has been almost 50 years since the American Psychiatric Association declassified homosexuality as an illness. Yet there are still countries around the world that oppose, or barbarically oppose, as I said in the article, and at times deny the existence of LGBTQ people. There's 71 countries where being gay is criminalized, and even worse, there's 11 countries where being LGBTQ is punishable by death. And those beautiful garden spots are Iran, northern Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, Yemen, Afghanistan, Brunei, Mauritania, Pakistan, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. So it could be punishable by death. Shocking, a couple of the countries on that list, but I think
Did you
should be
see
shocking
the,
any countries on the list. But
Totally. And I don't know if you can see it on your end, the graphic I put up that I found
Yep.
it actually it's a color thing. So anything that's beige to red, it's illegal or you could be killed in that part of the world. If it's light blue to dark blue, then you have some protection. But what I'm looking at is basically like half the world. It's
or
a
as the
place I
former
might
president
not
would
wanna
call
go,
shithole
right?
countries. Right. What did
Yeah.
Trump call them? Shithole countries.
Were there any on the list that, for example, I'll start it off by saying this. I came across, I think it might have been Barbados. I visited Barbados. It's a beautiful island. Bob and I loved our trip there. The people could not be more friendly, and yet it's on this list of a place you don't want to visit because bad stuff happens there, right?
Yeah, I heard Barbados was kind of. What's the right word I'm looking for?
Jamaica's on the list too.
Yeah, no, but is Barbados nice? You thought it was nice, or
Geographically,
it's
it's
a little
pretty,
rough?
but it's not. It's a little rough. I think
Yeah.
in terms of its infrastructure, the
poor.
level of the income level, it's not one of the more like rich islands, but I
Rich
could be
islands,
wrong.
okay. Yeah,
But
no,
it's-
Barbados was one I picked too, John. I picked Barbados, and right above it, I picked Antigua.
Yeah,
Barbuda.
another one. Yeah.
A surprise to me, but maybe not, and I don't know why. I just tend to think of them differently than their neighbors. Egypt.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's when you sent this and I scanned down. I always go to E right away because it's a country I'm dying to visit. Bob and I would love to do the pyramids, the Sphinx, the new museum that was built using all the money they raised from King Tut tours. It'd be just amazing. But it's on the list. But I've mentioned it to people who have said you got to go with the tour group. You never
Right.
leave the group. That's it. It's kind of a weird way to visit a country, don't you think?
Well, Kenya is the same way. Kenya's on the list.
You had to deal with that.
And
yeah.
I went there, and interestingly, you could not stay in the room with a person of the same sex. So they had moved. So I stayed with Chris, the comrade, which was fantastic because we played right alongside. It was our honeymoon. We had these beautiful suites, and but yeah, and they just were very, this country is not, be careful what you say, be careful how you act, be careful what you talk. And I'm wondering, had I known that, I'd have probably been one of those bad people that when the State Department told you and I not to go to North Korea because you and I would push it. I'll do that.
Yeah, exactly.
We're in jail. So I was surprised to see Liberia on there.
Yes, and how about I'm not surprised about Saudi Arabia. I've heard about that a lot.
Yeah.
But Qatar was interesting to me, and I didn't see Dubai on here. So I'm guessing Dubai, but I know that you have to be very careful in Dubai as well.
Well, Dubai is part of the United Arab Emirates.
Okay.
So they are on there.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. Down. I see it. Ding. Sorry, folks.
No, but it is shocking because of, Dubai is Vegas, right? It's kind
Party
of party, drinking, drugging, whatever else they're doing, drinking, drugging, whoring. So I'm surprised that, I guess you overlook it. Same with Qatar, right? It's a very wealthy country looking for all kinds of tourism. I think they have planes everywhere now, don't they?
Yep.
So then there were more islands: St. Kitts, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. I was surprised by that because they're French.
And they're heavily touristed.
Yeah.
It's not like they don't have people from all over, Europe and the U.S. coming there, and certainly a lot of gay couples. I don't know. Yeah.
And Morocco, of course. Singapore surprised me. Of course, you can't chew gum in Singapore, but Singapore surprised me.
There's a lot of shit you can't do in Singapore, boy.
It's a very orderly. Richard would love Singapore. How orderly is Singapore, right? They got it down.
Richard would love Singapore.
Right. Lots of rules, and they're all very laid out, no discussion. So, yeah, so there was a list. I'll post this to our Facebook page, which is Focus Group Radio on Facebook, obviously, so people could see the full list. But the ones that John and I had picked out, I think, were the surprises. There's all the usual suspects, as you can imagine, on there as well. But it is, I wonder, the people at IGLTA, the International Gay and Lesbian Travel Association or whatever, you would think that they'd work a little harder maybe on some of these, particularly some of the more, as you said, heavily tourist areas.
I'm going to let that. You're so sly you got them in, because Tim and I used to attend their annual conferences and record a show from there. And privately, Tim would say to me, don't you think they might want to talk to this country and say, you need to up your game if you want to have. And he actually brought it up one time. You did mention it to the president, and he's like, well, you know what? Our strategy is to work with and try to educate as opposed to just say no or something like that, right?
Yeah, well, they wouldn't criticize Russia.
Right.
They wouldn't criticize some other places, which I thought was wrong. But that's my opinion. So if that's not their opinion, that's one thing. But I do think it could be dangerous. There was somebody I spoke to that had gone to Amman, and they were going on and on about how wonderful it is. And I said, well, what about A, B, C, and D? And they can kill you, for being gay. Oh, it's all exaggerated. I was like,
Hey, did Patrick and Howard go to Egypt?
They did. I don't know. They may have. I don't think they're. I do know that there's a trip that's going this weekend, actually, on my birthday, but I don't think they're going.
I think when we were down visiting, one of your friends said, "Oh, go, you'll love it. You do a tour company." That it was a very positive kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, a lot of people that I know that have gone just absolutely
love it. Yeah.
I'm more fascinated. You and I talked about this in another show. I'm more fascinated by the fact that nobody could really figure out how they built those, and I think that is such a mystery. I don't understand. I guess that just was never handed down generation after generation.
I was just talking about this with someone literally a few days ago. They cannot replicate with modern equipment moving blocks like that to such a volume and a degree to build like the Great Pyramid of Cheops. It is mind-blowing. It really is. But then again, hey, we've only been around for a couple hundred years at this modern level we're at. But the Egyptians, was it like thousands?
Yeah, right. But wouldn't you think if there was some sort of mechanical thing they used, that there would be an existence of it, whether they found
in a tomb or something.
Have they done right, or reading in hieroglyphics of how they might have showed how they did it?
Well, my dad was convinced that the aliens came and gave them a metal rod that they would tap the stone with and it would levitate, and they could just like push it into place and tap the stone and it would drop. That's how they. And my dad's like, that's how they did it. I just read it in Eric von Daniken's Chariots of the Gods. So it must be fact. They tap the stone, it levitates. They push it, they tap it, it drops. They're done.
Done.
I said, well, how long did it take to cut the stones? No, they got tools for that too. The aliens gave them things to cut the stones too. And then,
I wonder why the aliens didn't stay.
or why they don't come back and take some of us away, right?
I think, or maybe they're. Did you watch that My Octopus the Teacher or whatever I told you?
No, I have to watch.
You got to watch that, John. You'll cry. I think the octopus might be the alien we're looking for.
All right. We're officially going off the rails on audio drop birthday. So if you're watching on video, it's Wednesday, but if you're listening on audio, it's Tim's birthday. It's a Saturday.
Audio.
All right, folks, we're going to wrap it up. Wish Tim a happy birthday again. This is going to definitely be a show. We might put this in the queue again because a lot of good things came up. Bodies flying out of cars, et cetera, et cetera. We want to thank
in a tree.
Yeah, peeing in a tube, to go in a can, to bring your urine
to take home, to go flush.
I just saw you as director of marketing when you did that. When you walked the consumer through the process. It's so Tim to do this. They come in the store. What happens? Is there a table? What kind of table is it? Is it Victorian?
Who's going to bring the chips?
Is it a table from IKEA? Who's sitting behind the table? What kind of chair are they sitting on? It's brilliant, and this is exactly what has to happen. All right. Happy birthday again. Check out our partner here, Deep Discount, by going to focusgroupradio.com and clicking on the Deep Discount logo and starting your shopping trip. And we want to remind folks to don't text and drive, arrive alive. Get that up there. Have a great week, and we'll see you in the new one.
It's The Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.
That was a stunning focus group.